Regular viewers of our pregame Lions show will know that I'm baffled by the BC Lions. 2 weeks ago, of course, was the big night when they hosted Geroy Simon, and you would have thought that the Lions would have come out on fire. Instead, they completely blew it, being blown out by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So what happens last week? They go into Calgary, they meet the undefeated Stampeders, and they beat them. They barely beat them, but they still beat them. I'm joined by Lowell Ullrich, our football reporter from his home in North Vancouver. LU, you have the Blue Bombers game 1 week, which was so awful, it's still giving me some sort of post-traumatic stress disorder. And on the other hand, you have them beating Calgary in Calgary. Can you instill some confidence in me that we're going to see a promising Lions team Friday night when they host Hamilton?
Well, I wish I could, but I mean, I suppose if you look on the track records of around the league to date, you probably can. I mean, you know, Winnipeg's obviously at 5-1, a pretty good football team. Edmonton, a 4-win team. You know, those are teams that they've lost to. I guess, Jonathan, the short answer is, you know what, they're not as bad as 0-2 when, you know, they stumbled so badly against Montreal of all teams, but they're not as good as they have shown at some points when they beat Montreal at home and maybe a beat at Calgary. That's why a game against Hamilton really is a good litmus test, because the Lions have to show some consistency.
Yeah, now the Lions, in playing Hamilton this week, playing Toronto the following week, they're playing two sort of weaker, it seems, Eastern Division clubs. So every week we talk about quarterbacking, and it seems that now is the time when you're playing a weaker team to work Travis Lulay back into the lineup. Is it going to happen Friday night at BC Place?
I get the feeling that at some point in this game we're going to see Travis Lulay on the field. I do. I mean, I think the Lions owe it to Kevin Glenn and to Travis, in a sense, to let the status remain quo, as it were, to have the incumbent quarterback, the guy's been there since day one of training camp, take the opening snaps, see how far he goes. If he struggles, if he throws interception number 10, then by all means, you've got Travis looking pretty good in practice and I think ready to go. But I don't really think that there's a real chronic need to start Travis Lulay. Maybe there would have been if they lost to Calgary. But this is a 3-3 team. Kevin Glenn got them 3 wins. Let's see how far he goes. But just know that at some point in the next 2 weeks, there's going to be some kind of transition involving, you know, the franchise player.
Did you really say interception number 10? You didn't just make that up, did you?
I wish it did. It's that's pretty dramatic for a guy who's thrown 9 already. I mean, and some of them, well, I would say a lot of them are right on Kevin. I mean, I don't know that there's any other way to put it.
All right, the Hamilton Tiger Cats are struggling, but all the teams in the East are struggling. However, they have a new quarterback, a guy out of Central Michigan University. He's a Chippewa, LU. His name is Dan Lefevre. And if your name is Dan Lefevre, shouldn't the Tiger Cats be marketing this guy somehow?
With a name like that, yes. I would actually first like to know what a Chippewa is. So if someone can tell us, please write in. Dan Lefevre, 6'3", 230. You know, a 26-year-old quarterback who looks like he's the guy that the Ticats are going to pin their hopes on. Yes, they signed Zach Collaros in the offseason, but he's hurt right. Is an interesting guy. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he had his debut game for the Ticats after injury. He ran all over the field, ran for 100 yards. Last week against Winnipeg, he did nothing. I'm really interested to see whether or not the Ticats under Ken Austin give him the sort of green light. As to marketing, I know they have Dan Lefevre T-shirts. That's about the extent of it that I know. But it certainly seems like Lefevre Fever has got to be a marketing phrase for somebody, doesn't it?
Well, he's going to obviously have to pick up more than one win for things to go nuts in the Steel Town. LU, thanks for joining me. And of course, Friday, 1 p.m. at provincesports.com. Join LU for his weekly pregame live chat on our website. And of course, his full coverage, the Blitz coverage, in the pages of Province Sports and at provincesports.com on Friday. Thanks, LU.
Hey, thanks.